Stugotz here. Football returns Thursday night, and huge cash prizes are up for grabs at DraftKings, the leader in one-week fantasy sports. For the season opener, DraftKings is hosting a fantasy football contest that has a $1 million top prize and is just $10 to enter. For a limited time only, if you sign up with code HUDDLE, you'll get a free entry with your first deposit. So download the app or go to DraftKings.com now and use code HUDDLE to sign up and get a free shot at $1 million with your first deposit. Only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
This is the best of the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
No Stugotz today. He is at the upfront. The career of Stugotz has been an amazing thing to marvel at. He is going to the upfront as a human being who is a know-it-all, who will go there and tell everybody why they're not doing their jobs correctly and how it is that he could do them better. Izzy Gutierrez is in with us instead. Is Gary Busey going to join us? Because this is a big day around here. There were no ramifications to the mean things that I said and apologized for yesterday as it regards Gary Busey?
No ramifications yet. He is scheduled to join at 11:30.
Yeah. Now, I'm a little scared of this. I've got to be honest. I don't know. Well, first of all, if you weren't with us yesterday, we were very excited about the idea of Gary Busey, even though none of us can name a good role that he's had. And it's just magically Gary Busey. He's selling a book, and sure, do it here. We'd love to have you around. I don't know what we're going to talk to him about. I don't know what's going to come out of his mouth.
The only memories I have of Gary Busey are the clips from Talk Soup and how sort of nutty he was and different antics and everything else. And I didn't get a reason for it, didn't really understand it. I just thought, hey, there's a wacky character over there.
Celebrity rehab is something that we want to ask him about. So I have not sabotaged this yet, though. We've got an hour. Celebrity rehab was a good idea, incidentally. Like, if you're going to get in there and do Dancing with the Stars, and yes, get there. And like, who wouldn't watch right now Ben Affleck's rehab?
That would be, I mean, man, I didn't know he was an addict. But
third time,
really?
Yeah, there's pictures of him, looking like I do on the weekends, wanting burgers in the back seat of the car.
Ben Affleck, Gary Busey. I think I'd rather watch the Ben Affleck.
Yeah, but I think it'd be darker.
This is good. Yeah, he's going to come on for sure. Should keep this up. Your apology yesterday was the worst apology in the history of apologies, by the way.
What did you say that required an apology?
I said that his brain was a fried egg, and I did not know that he had been in an accident.
No.
Yeah, I just thought that it was years of drug use, and it probably was years of drug use.
Oh,
well, he was in celebrity rehab. He was in celebrity rehab. How do you think you get into celebrity rehab? But anyways, that was the apology. The apology was something like that. So anyways, apparently it hasn't harmed our relationship with Gary Busey because his brain is a fried egg. And he's just going to come on here in an hour and a half and promote his book.
What's wrong with you? I mean, it hasn't gotten to him. He's not listening to the show. That's how he's still coming on.
What is Gary Busey listening to? Because it's got to be several different voices in his own head, right?
You know what? At this point, I kind of want you to keep this up because I forgot there's cameras here. I just smacked one. I want you to keep this up because I am scared to death of the interview too. And in fact, when Allison handed me his thick hardcover book yesterday as if I was going to read it, I considered just starting to cough right there so that I could eventually call in sick.
You do have a bit of a nervous cough when things get tight. Sometimes I think Izzy's poker tell is a nervous.
It's funny how you would think that because I do cough a lot when I'm on the show and when I'm on HQ. It really is there. Like I just have, like my dad used to cough all the time. He was very phlegmy, and I'm there too. And maybe it is a nervous cough. Yeah,
you should get that looked at because the last time we had someone coughing on this show was kind of serious.
Yeah, it was a tumor. There was a tumor situation. Greg Cody.
Nah, I'm fine.
Okay. Okay, very good. Segueing to sports stuff, the Steeler locker room took a turn I was not expecting yesterday. Right? And this locker room, God bless them, man. They can't decide whether they're going to want to stay in it or outside it or just send the military guy outside. Then the military guy comes back inside and apologizes to everybody for respecting the anthem too much apart from his team. So that was the one locker room thing that they had. But now everyone is mad at Le'Veon Bell in a way that makes the locker room feel like the fan base.
Yeah.
Like they are so self-interested that they are getting in his pockets. I can't believe that dude touching the ball 400 times a year, that his offensive lineman, who he bought watches for, that his offensive line, that they're putting their names on these quotes of he makes 7 times more than I do, and I'm the reason that he has success. Like, offensive lineman with ego is something you do not see a whole lot.
That discrepancy, the salary discrepancy, creates problems in that locker room, or any NFL locker room, right? But it is funny how it's a business when it's player versus owner, it's a business when it's player versus fan, it's a business when it's owner versus fan, but it's teammate and teammate. They forget the business element. They don't sit there and say, hey, Le'Veon's got to take care of Le'Veon. He's got a career to worry about. It's not just
But
about...
I feel like most guys do that. That's why I was surprised by yesterday. I was surprised. I feel like most guys understand the business and literally stay out of your teammate's business. But these guys feel hurt and betrayed in a way that was a bit jarring, and it makes me wonder about something. I remember a few years ago, Yasiel Puig, everybody was saying what a jerk he was, and I'm trying to look at it as, well, he comes from Cuba, there's a lot of cultural discrepancy, what's his education level, how scared is he, what's happening there, and eventually, enough people told me from the Dodger locker room, he's just a bleep hole. It's not about anything else, it's not about cultural, it's not about anything else, he's just a jerk to his teammates. The noise that came out of that Steeler locker room made me feel like these guys don't like him. Because if you liked him, you would not do this.
Yeah.
If this was someone that you like, you don't sit there and put your name as an offensive lineman on public comments that make you they never want to be the center of attention. And now the only reason we're talking about Le'Veon Bell and the Steelers is because there's an uprising in his own locker room from the guys who block for him who are mad at him.
Quarterbacks don't tend to hold out because teams pay them, but you think they'd be saying similar things about Ben Roethlisberger if he was holding out?
What do you think? I don't know what's happening there, but it's odd enough for me to want to throw everything in play because you're not used to teammates who understand a business selfishly calling Le'Veon Bell selfish because he's not coming out to help them week one, possibly over money, which is something they all understand. And he's willing to cost himself $900,000 a game because of the principle of what it is that he believes in. You don't have to believe in it that way. You don't even have to support it. But to come out and play defense against it in a way that feeds fuel to a fan base that's just ready to feel betrayed with the selfish guy strikes me as extraordinarily short-sighted by those offensive linemen, all of whom are made better by that guy's unique skill set.
What they were saying was so strong that I was wondering what happens when he comes back. What if someone misses a tackle and he just gets lit? Or
misses the block.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Misses a block and he just gets lit. Is that something that you were thinking about yesterday? Because I'm like, they seem really mad at him.
It feels like the relationship between him and the organization had already deteriorated to the point where he won't be on the team next year. It just so happens that now with the locker room against him, maybe he won't even be on the team at all this year, which is what I find kind of crazy interesting about this, whether you talk about the Khalil Mack situation, the Earl Thomas situation, or this one with Le'Veon Bell, where now trade becomes a real possibility if they know he's going to be gone. Maybe this is their version. Maybe guys have held out enough and put the fear in these teams, or even just the fatigue in these teams to say, all right, you know what? I'm not going to deal with you. I'll trade you. And this is the way the way they do in the NBA for the big stars to change teams and gain a little bit of power themselves.
When they don't have much contract.
Exactly.
Power.
Even though they don't have say in which team they go to, at least they're going to a team that they know, hey, they're going to pay me what I want to be paid.
How often have you guys seen this, what we're presently witnessing with the Steelers? Because I've been surprised at every turn that Le'Veon Bell has been a public holdout person who has been defiant, in your face, making fun of it, making fun of the Steelers, using social media to laugh about how little money he's earning when most people watching it would consider a lot of money, taking out a Dairy Queen application to make fun and light of this. Until now, we have not seen what is happening in the Steeler locker room, which is a public blasting of a player. Can you give me the other examples you guys have of something like this, where it's a team sport and a guy has now made, I remember this happened with John Rocker. under a different set of circumstances, the Braves were a clubhouse that was policed about professionalism, and John Rocker was being John Rocker, and everyone there didn't like him, and they sort of ostracized him.
Right.
And said so publicly in a way that made it difficult for him to come to work every day. If you're Le'Veon Bell and you're reading these comments from your offensive lineman that you bought watches last year, like, how do you feel about what you're reading, where they just poured lighter fluid on his entire situation and made his argument all the harder to defend from his standpoint when his teammates are sitting here giving public voice that's more critical of him than anyone in the media and anyone you hear on in the fan base?
I'm thinking he's quite surprised that the offensive lineman or anybody that makes less money than him, which is still impressive, great money, 7-figure money, are acting like the fans are, essentially. And they don't have the perspective. They've been brainwashed by the team. And now it's like, wait a second. You've had these problems before. You've been in contract negotiations. I just happen to be a star that deserves more, and I do more for this team. How do you not understand that? I don't know if he can go back there and actually have to explain that to them. He shouldn't have to explain that to them.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with him, because he's got 10 weeks here. People, the way this is being reported is he either shows up and plays here or he's going to take 10 games off. Mm-hmm. Like, he either shows up today or tomorrow and signs the franchise tender, or he's going to take 10 games off. And then what's that locker room going to be like when they're not as good and he's walking back into a locker room just to get the 6 games in so he can get to free agents?
I'll be very apologetic.
Computer, execute 12.4p operation.
Optimizing algorithm. Running encryption packet alpha. Night. Oh, I don't feel so good.
What is it, computer?
Is it hot in here? It feels hot in here. I feel a little clammy. I should lie down or something.
A computer with a virus? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
Those oysters Rockefeller were a mistake.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Dan Le Batard.
Vladimir Guerrero is 7th in WAR in Nationals and Expos history.
Stugotz.
How many Expos are ahead of him?
Oh, easy. Gary Carter's first.
The
then
kid.
Tim Raines.
Rock.
Andre Dawson.
Hawk.
Steve Rogers.
Raj.
Tim Wallach.
T-Wall.
And then Ryan Zimmerman, and then
Zim.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
There have been some great holdouts over the years, memorable holdouts. Emmitt Smith held out for 2 games at the start of one season. I remember the look on Jimmy Johnson's face. I mean, he always looked those first 2 games like he wanted to cry because Emmitt Smith wasn't around, and there are a couple of gangster negotiating moves in the history of sports. One of them is Andre Dawson going to the Cubs and telling them to just fill out a blank contract for him, pay him whatever it is they think they should. And then he had an MVP season. Like, he just said, "Go, you know what? Okay, I'll do this the way you guys want to do it. Here, I think he made like $500,000 that season. He's just, pay me what you think is right for this season." And then he had an MVP season. And Emmitt Smith, Billy, can you look this up for me? What did the Cowboys lose those 2 games by, and what happened in those 2 games? Because as I recall it, they went on to win the Super Bowl, but in the 2 games of Emmitt's absence, they lost badly, and everyone decided, okay, Emmitt's got to get back. We got to get him back because we need him, because, hey, Troy Aikman's a Hall of Fame quarterback, and he only throws 20 touchdowns this season.
And then he got the richest contract for a running back at the time in NFL history.
Right, so he comes back. But what were the 2 games before that necessitated that? Because that was funny to watch. If Antonio Brown and Ben Roethlisberger all of a sudden aren't any good,
yeah, then all of a sudden it's like, hey, what do you need, Le'Veon? Come on back. And I think this is the funniest part about the teammates ripping on him. Like, what are they saying to him? Are they saying, all right, you fought pretty hard, just play for the money that you deserve more of and make us happy? Like, what are they complaining about to him? Did they expect that he would just sort of hold out, look tough, and then all of a sudden come back? Did they think he was just sitting out to save his legs? I mean, he's sitting out for a reason, and you're ripping him because, why? Because you feel like, hey, you take the L, come back, and be with your teammates. I think that's ridiculous.
So here are the quotes. Here are some of the quotes. Le'Veon Bell has not shown up. This is from Ramon Foster. He's the player rep. I can't believe these guys are... I really can't believe that these guys are so myopic in terms of cavemen that they don't see what they're doing with just turning on labor as if it's going to buy them anything when their contracts come up.
None.
Because it's not going to buy them anything. But here is, and you've heard me say this before, I don't understand why so many of you want these guys in sports to have bosses that none of you would want to work for. And I don't understand how it is that you end up in these situations where you're as good as Le'Veon Bell is, and here's what your teammates who are paid to be anonymous are saying in public. Ramon Foster, he's making 7 times what I make, twice as much as Al Villanueva is making, and we're the guys who do it for him. And then Marquise Pouncey. And gosh, man, these guys, it's so primitive. It's so barbaric. Why play hide and seek? Why let your agent say this? Just man up and tell us what you're going to do. And then one veteran Steeler told Jeremy Fowler of ESPN that he waited a day to criticize Bell to give him a chance to come in Wednesday, but, quote, he bleeped us.
And management is throwing a party wherever they are listening to this. Yeah, you do the damage control for us. You keep our fans on our side, and you make Le'Veon Bell look like the villain here while we try to save money.
Do you realize how just brutal it would be for these peers and friends and these guys who have to work together, that Le'Veon Bell knows that my damn coach wasn't talking this way about my holdout.
Right.
My coach is management, and he's not talking the way that these guys who blocked for me are talking in public, taking the side of management. But the point I was making is the idea that I don't get why so often, even in situations like this, labor sides with management. Labor doesn't side with labor. I'll never understand it, because it happens in this audience too, where people who are carpenters, plumbers, doctors, whatever, they work for somebody else. They are labor. They don't side with labor.
But I think this is almost irreparable, because it's different in that, as Billy said, one's working for the other. And so the first time something goes wrong on a play, the question marks are going to be there, in whether it's Le'Veon's head or, his teammates' head, saying, wait, was Le'Veon trying that hard, or was my blocker trying that hard? Once those questions are in there, once that brotherhood is broken, it's over. Le'Veon might as well go play somewhere else.
Cowboys started 0-2. They lost the first game by 19. Second game was close. 3 points.
Okay. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, they're winning the Super Bowl. Thank you, Fats and Info. Guillermo says he's got a new game for us. What you're happy?
I'm so excited. It's called What Things Cost. I don't think you're ready yet. Yeah, for those of you who can't see
Wait
me,
a minute. You're so excited that you're shaking what out of your hands? The static?
I don't even know if it's I don't know. My hands are a little sweaty, but I don't think that's unrelated. I'm going through some stuff now, Dan. You don't even want to know.
All right, put this on the poll, Allison, please. When you get anxious or excited about something, do you wave the electricity out of your hands? I don't know what you're doing there.
Do you want me to explain to you how the game works?
Well, why don't we just play it next? Do you want to tease it, or do you want to?
Ooh, a 10:30 debut of What Things Cost. I'm in.
Now he's super shaky.
Okay, he's really excited about What Things Cost.
Demand once more money.
I don't know what this is, but I'm going to guess. I saw something the other day with Bill Gates where he was on one of these game shows and he didn't know what.
And he thought a gallon of milk cost $85.
Yeah, he didn't know the value of money, and I think they want to do this at my expense because I haven't bought anything for myself in about 14 years.
I can't wait.
Don Batard.
I feel terrible.
Here's the thing with you. You don't actually feel terrible.
I didn't feel a thing, to be honest with you. I don't really care.
I know. You announcing I feel terrible is just your way to move on to the next terrible thing you're going to do.
Stugotz.
They're just words, and words mean nothing to you.
They don't mean nothing. His words mean nothing.
Words are just transitions to your next lie.
That's so right. They're not words. They are bridges to lies.
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
That is Izzy Gutierrez sitting in for Stugotz. I was told it's not the upfront. I was corrected on that, but he's at some high-level meetings where he's just telling people how they can do their jobs better because Stugotz has become a swaggering symbol for excess and arrogance as he just makes his way through ESPN, climbing the corporate ladder, stepping on necks.
My hero.
Along the way. Izzy made me laugh because he had the same feeling that I did watching this viral video of Dwayne Wade playing basketball locally. He just the camera pans to, You're just watching a bunch of guys who are like from Flagami. Like it's just, I don't know how to explain it to you, but it's a bunch of guys that if they're on a basketball court, you wouldn't say they can play basketball.
Yeah, no.
You would just
I'd be like, I got next.
You would just look at them and say, okay, maybe one or two of these guys are good, but all of them appear to be 5'5", and this is just general rec league basketball. And then the ball is dropped into the post, where the camera pans to reveal that it's Dwayne Wade shirtless getting the ball in the post. And you say to yourself, okay, that's got to be funny and cool. Until you see him go up and dunk, and it looks like it physically hurts him.
Everything looked like it was happening in slow motion, despite the fact the defender was jumping at everything because he's super excited to defend Dwayne Wade. But everything else was happening in slow motion, and it didn't really make you that excited to see Dwayne Wade on the NBA
It bummed me out. It bummed me out because I remember it's been so many years now, but I remember saying of Dwayne Wade's game, like Russell Westbrook's, ooh, that's not going to age well when it has that much athleticism that it's summoning in the finals. It's going to be hard, and he's aged as gracefully as you can under the circumstances. But yes, he looks like he's creaking and needs WD-40 when he goes up for that dunk.
I will say in those scenarios, he's not trying very hard. It's about 60% effort, maybe. That's giving those other guys some credit there. But still, like,
but I had the same reaction you did, as it made me sad. What began as a happy time in my video viewing, which is the camera panning to Dwayne gets the ball in the post, to the next thing you know, there's the sound of a rusty gate swinging, and then, shards of Wade are coming off of the rim.
I'll give you not full effort on the post moves. The dunk, he was trying. Yeah. He was really trying to get
But did it look like it hurt? Because Vince Carter talks about this at 41 years old. He's like, I can still get up. It's getting down. That's not great. Like, I can still get up there, and it's just landing on everything, and then everything starts crackling and creaking.
Same thing with the other sports where you require fast running. It's not the running. It's not the speeding up. It's the slowing down that hurts. It's the quick cutting. That stuff goes away quickly.
Yes or no, guys, because there's a Dolphins-Titans game this week, and I don't want, beat me to death with a pool cue. I don't want to watch that. Dolphins-Titans is not something that I'm interested in any way.
But Tannehill's back.
But if I told the audience that one of the channels on Sunday, I don't know which of the games you want to watch, okay? I don't know which you consider the interesting teams in the league. The Rams are interesting. The Steelers are interesting. The Browns are interesting. But how many games would you, if you only had one television, put ahead of just watching Jalen Ramsey and Odell Beckham go at it all game?
Ooh. I don't know if I'd go any other game before that. Normally, my first thought is I want to see Aaron Rodgers regardless of who he's playing because it's artistry. But especially when you consider the way the Josh Norman Odell Beckham matchup went a couple years ago? Yeah, a couple years ago. Then this is must see, even though with that new contract and going into week one, I don't think OBJ is going to fall for that trap, but I want to see it.
There's only one person that I've heard Jalen Ramsey give maximum respect to, and it's Julio Jones. And Julio Jones is a physical, he's the predator. He's a physical extraterrestrial. That's not what Odell Beckham is. Odell Beckham, he's got enormous athleticism, but I don't know how that matches up with Jalen Ramsey's enormous athleticism. The reason that Julio Jones can give Jalen Ramsey problems is because he can be bigger than him.
You can have the footwork and the size, so regardless of if you're on me, you're on my back, I'll still get that. But if you're talking about speed, quickness, explosion, footwork, he thinks he's every bit as good, if not better, than Odell.
I have no idea what's going to happen in that game, but I want to watch it. Like the idea that a guy has spent the offseason giving respect to no one, disrespecting. Really, Jalen Ramsey has made himself famous with his mouth this offseason in a way that his play didn't, even though his play merited it, because he's just been ripping people right and left, and he's forced his way into this conversation. Over the years, who's it been? It's been Revis. It's been Asamoah. It's been like when we go to these cornerbacks we're saying, oh, it's Richard Sherman got in this game with his mouth.
Josh Norman.
Can defenders, or mostly cornerbacks, but defenders in particular, actually, let's just stick to cornerbacks. Are they the only ones who are allowed to talk like that? Because wide receivers, like, Odell can say, oh, this guy's trash, watch me, lose him off the line. I think the danger there is obviously the offensive players fear the hit that comes after that trash talk. The defensive players don't have to worry about that.
One of the things that I find interesting about this, and it would be the thing that I would watch on Sunday above all others, is that if I were Jalen Ramsey, this particular challenge, and clearly I don't have that mindset, but if I were him, I'd be a little afraid. This isn't what I'd want week one after spending the off season. Now, I'm not a competitor, so maybe he wants the challenge of that. You always hear competitors do that. I'm a bit of a coward, so I'd rather go against the easy matchup in week one after an off season of talking, but I'm not sure Jalen, I'd be a little scared. Because Odell Beckham can embarrass you on 2 plays.
He can, and I don't think there's anybody on that Jacksonville roster that can prepare him going into this. It's not like he's teammates with Julio Jones and can prepare for that. So it's going to be a whole different animal with Odell. And and I know I said that he just got the new contract, so it could be a little fat and happy situation. But I mean, come on, Jalen Ramsey. Week one is probably just as important to him as that contract gets.
What are the good games, guys? What are the good stories this week here? We'll get to what things cost in a second.
I mean, tonight's game, Falcons, Eagles, I guess.
Bears. The good one if Carson was there. I understand that, Nick Foles won the Super Bowl and all that. But
football's back. Tonight's a national holiday. Football returns. Professional football. There it is. There's Santa Claus back there, right there. Degenerate Santa Claus.
Football, man.
That's right. Yes. In fact, we should all do that. In fact, never mind the 3 segments. In fact, hold on. Let us all, for 30 minutes, sort of as a hyperventilating breath exercise.
30 minutes?
30 seconds.
Lord,
30 seconds. 30 seconds. I'm sorry. 30 minutes. A hyperventilating.
I got 30 minutes.
breath exercise. Let's all show enthusiasm for football's return here in a jovial fashion. Are you ready? All of us at the same time. Allison, I don't want you to sit this out. Are you ready, Allison? Come on. I've got to show enthusiasm.
I'm really
all of us.
Sit this out.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Football! Football's gonna take its shirt off! Football! 30 seconds is a long time to do that. Kind of getting lightheaded. Jingle bell, jingle all the way. Definitely getting lightheaded.
I'll slap you in the face with money.
Felt good, right? Felt good. It's like 12 hours away. 10 hours away. Soon. Football. Put a clock on the ESPN ooze. What are we looking at? Just a kickoff is just a little while away. What are you laughing about?
I laughed so hard one day. I was at home the first time I heard you say ESPN ooze.
Yeah. How are we doing on ESPN ooze? Is that a whole lot of manpower around here to get us on ESPN ooze?
Oh, we're killing it. Number one
show on ESPN ooze every day from 10 to 1.
Woo!
I think.
Maybe soon they'll be able to afford that other end.
Dan Batard.
People who love this show tend to really, really love Stugotz.
Thank you.
Stugotz.
I mean, yeah, the love is unreasonable for a man of your despicable core.
This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
So Stugotz is sending off a bunch of texts here. He is unhappy. We will get him on the phone in a second. I just want to put this on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Which will end first, Kaepernick conversations or racism? Put them. Which ends first? The Kaepernick conversation or racism?
Should we talk to Stugotz about that?
No, we should not talk to Stugotz about that. So Stugotz is in New York. He is storming around, telling everybody how to do their jobs. And so I get a text here. So far, Mike's name is not on the list to get in here. There's not an ESPN person in sight after they asked us to be here at 10:30. Mike's clothes are wrinkled because the bleep hotel they put him in didn't have an iron. Mike is eating coconut chips in a corner. I mean, just so disrespectful. I haven't set foot in the place, and I'm already angry.
Da-da-da. Da-da-da.
Stugotz joins us now from what I was mistakenly calling the upfront. What is happening, Stugotz? Give us a live report from whatever it is you're doing, whatever the hell you're doing.
Wait a second. These aren't the upfronts? What are they? What am I doing here? Why am I here? Why am I missing the show? Why am I missing Panthers today? What are these, Levitz?
What are you doing? I don't know I don't know why you're not here. I figured you were just doing something that was, securities fraud.
Thanks, Dan. No, so listen, we're at the upfronts, digital, podcasting, all this stuff. I feel terrible. I haven't even set foot in the place. I mean, I flew in this morning, but I feel terrible for Mike Ryan. A, he didn't know he had the option of flying in this morning. He could have slept in his bed last night. Number two is, Mike is just a complete disaster. The hotel he has stayed in last night, it didn't have an iron, and Mike needs to look good. We're talking in front of a whole bunch of people today, and there was no iron, so Mike's clothes are wrinkled. I'm actually walking, and so I see him. And he sent me a text earlier that his name wasn't at the front desk, and he's sitting in a corner eating a bag of coconut chips. So, I mean, we are off to a great start here.
I saw Stu for all of 15 seconds yesterday, and with zero context, just came up to me while I was getting makeup done and said, I don't have to be up there until 10 o'clock. I'm taking the 8 o'clock flight. I'm taking a 6 o'clock flight. Might be moving up to the 8 o'clock flight. That's all I knew. And now I know what the context is. He had to go to upfronts, and he didn't bother going the night before, just going just in time.
They're not up front. I don't even know what the hell they are. Stugotz,
the Outbacks.
Stugotz is presenting in front of somebody? Like, he's going to present what? What's he presenting?
I just want to know why he couldn't fly out yesterday, because he was supposed to fly out in the afternoon with Mike, and he had something with lacrosse, so he's supposed to go at 8 p.m.
Yeah, I'd be happy to tell you why, Chris. Yeah, Chris, I'd be happy to tell you why, because I had my big fantasy football draft last night, and in addition to that, it was the Florida Select 2022 Orange team, the best team in the country. It was their first practice last night, so the head coach was not missing the first. I can't preach accountability and then not have the head coach be there for the first practice, and I had a big fantasy football draft. So I flew up at 6. Listen, I'm right on time, and no one's here. I don't have to go on stage until 12:40, and there's not a single person from ESPN anywhere in my eyesight right now. Nowhere.
You feel the need on this one thing to finally be consistent about something, and it's when you preach accountability, you're going to be there for a practice? Like, you've been preaching accountability around here for I don't know how many years while never being accountable for anything.
That's a fair point. You got to practice what you preach, though, Dan. You know that. You know my philosophy in life. You got to practice what you preach. I can't listen. It's the kids. If I'm going to tell the kids, hey, you got to be here on time. You got to be here for every practice. Then the head coach, the HC, he's got to be there too.
All right, get him out of here. The HC. You refer to yourself as the HC. Get him out of here. On that note, he's going out there to present for us. What the hell's he going to present?
I kind of wanted a little preview of what he was going to do.
Well, go ahead and ask him for it. Ask the HC for it.
HC's gone.
I've heard it's a 5-minute presentation him and Mike are giving.
What? 5?
Huh?
They don't know what they're doing. Mike is being held outside by security. Mike just sent me an incredibly sad picture of a name tag he had to handwrite. All right, go ahead. I don't know what the presentation is, but we got a minute left, Stugotz. Just hit the hard network out and just kill it with what the presentation is going to sound like that you're going to make at these not up front.
Oh, you're going to Cody me so bad. Well, here's the funny part. We have 5 minutes. I sent Mike a script for what we're going to say. And that script, so it has me speaking for 4 minutes and 30 seconds and then tossing it to Mike for 30 seconds. And Mike was very upset about that. I'm just going to tell him, listen, our show is about nothing. My name is Stugotz, and our show is about nothing. That is what I'm going to tell him. And Mike was very impressed with my speech. He thought I hit all the key points as to why we have the biggest and best podcast and radio show in the entire country. I'm going to go up there and do what I do, and that's deliver a great speech and come home with $10 million in my pocket.
Okay, very good. We look forward to seeing you. That's what he flew up there for, to tell him it's a show about nothing.
Stugotz here. Football returns Thursday night, and huge cash prizes are up for grabs at DraftKings, the leader in one-week fantasy sports. For the season opener, DraftKings is hosting a fantasy football contest that has a $1 million top prize and is just $10 to enter. For a limited time only, if you sign up with code HUDDLE, you'll get a free entry with your first deposit. So download the app or go to DraftKings.com now and use code HUDDLE to sign up and get a free shot at $1 million with your first deposit. Only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Football has returned. College football gave you a little bit of an appetizer tonight. The big boys, the professionals, come back. And this is a day of celebration. We have been, as a media community, a sports media community, crawling across a desert landscape of no content, or a summer that has been barren, and now here comes the content, the fun things to talk about, the Le'Veon Bell stories. But what we're going to do is play What Things Cost. Does it have imaging, or what is it? What
Are you ready to start? We're going to play right now?
I don't know. Am I? Is it going to be terrible? Well, here's the thing. I was wondering, should we play this game, or Izzy's really excited? He's really interested in the Drake and Kanye beef.
Oh man, I think we might need to wait till the 12 o'clock hour for that. I think my nerves are too wound up for the Gary Busey interview. I'm all over the place. I'm freaking out, even though I might not even ask a question. Sorry, Dan. Spoiler alert. But I think we might need some time to get into this Drake thing because it might go for a while.
I mean, Izzy's very fired up about it, and I remember one of these are people who remind me that I was getting old. All of these people. Kanye West, 40th birthday. I walked out of his concert like 5 songs in because I'm like, I don't belong here. I'm too old for this. Crud. It was just him on stage. There was no musicians. It was just him up there. And I'm like, nah. Bleh. And then we started Highly Questionable, and some of their first questions were about the Kardashians. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing this. No. Stop asking me Kardashian questions. I don't care about the Kardashians. I don't want to talk about the Kardashians. So I've been surprised to hear that you have been sucked into this vortex that gobbles up basketball players and rappers alike.
I only care about the Kardashians in the context of Drake and Kanye. Like, I don't even care about the Kardashians in the context of NBA players. That doesn't interest me. The Lamar Odom, James Harden, not interesting. The Curse, not interesting. This, ridiculously interesting. But we should play what is it? What do things cost?
Look, trust me on this. When Guillermo's put in charge, he is not to be trusted with judgment decisions.
That's what makes it exciting, though.
And so what...
Who's in charge now, Dan?
All right, guys, it's time for What Things Cost. Fanfare. Here's how the game works for those of you who are new to this game, which is everyone because it's the first time we play it. I will give you an item, which we looked up this morning on Walmart.com, and you will guess how much you think that item costs. Now, Dan, whoever's closer at the end of this game, which has 21 items, by the way, whoever's closer at the end of this game
21 items.
Wins.
All right, so the total, the least amount of money, when it all gets added up, the differences get all added up. And is it me against Izzy?
Oh, yeah, it's you against Izzy.
All right.
You ready?
So wait, this is not like Price is Right. You can go over.
You can go over, you can go under. It's fine. We're just doing the difference here.
Okay.
All right, ready for item number one?
Got 21 of these.
There's 21 items. Okay. I feel like it's going to get cut off way before then.
So we're going to do this before we do what the co-host here, Izzy Gutierrez, has told you he finds
item
endlessly
one,
fascinating.
Scott Comfort Plus. 30 double rolls of toilet paper. 30 double rolls. 60 rolls essentially, but it's 30 double rolls of Scott Comfort Plus toilet paper.
I could see it because they say right there on the item, actually 60 rolls if it's double rolls. 30 of them. I'm going to go $13.99.
I'm going to go $19.99.
All right. The actual price, $12.98.
Boom. Wow, look at that. Izzy Gutierrez right now just $7 ahead. It's crazy what's happened here.
Right now,
can we stop playing now?
Nope.
He wins.
$1.01 off. All right, next item.
What happens if we nail it like right on the money? There's some sort of prize?
No. All right.
If I nail it right on the money, can we stop playing?
If you nail
can that be the prize?
Sure. All right. Item number 2: Bacon Wave Microwave Bacon Cooker.
I believe naturally you should go first here, Dan. These are the rules.
Oh, really? Because clearly I would have some expertise in bacon, would I?
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and say $39.99.
I'm going to drop that to $25.99.
Wow, guys, what a bargain. $8.97.
Oh, my goodness.
I thought it was like a Foreman grill. No, it's not like a Foreman grill. What was that you just described?
Can we keep the running totals of Dan's guesses to see what his grocery bill would be in his head?
I'm not going to do well on any of these.
Dan goes to the grocery store, spends $2,000.
I have not bought something for myself. Well, Whole Foods and Fresh Market, the two of them, I can't get out of there at under $100. I can't do it. It does. I could go in there for chicken wings and I leave with more than $100 worth of stuff.
Only Dan would go to Whole Foods for the unhealthy stuff.
All right, item number 3. Drift Sun Voyager 2-person inflatable kayak, complete with all accessories, 2 paddles, 2 seats, double action pump, and more.
Man, if this is Walmart, though, I'm going what Dan thought a bacon cooker was worth, $39.99.
Oh, I'm going to go $69.99.
Wow, $429.99.
Dan, you won that one.
Yeah, and I think I'm ahead now because I think I just jumped out in the lead. This game is so much more fun this way.
All right, here we go.
We got 21 of these, though. We got 21.
We're rolling right now. Dan, this one's for you. Better Body Foods Live Fit Superfood Organic Cacao Powder, 1 pound.
I'm gonna guess $5.99.
$1.
Wow, $8.49. Ooh, this one's a classic.
Wait a minute. Who's buying cacao powder at Walmart?
Here's a classic.
I'm buying it at Whole Foods, man, where it's overpriced and unhealthy.
Well, you should go to Walmart, $8.49. How about this? Candyland, the game. Candyland.
$12.99.
$12 is what I was going to get.
Wow, $5.92.
Dan with the crazy comeback. I think you're running away with it here.
Here we go.
Can we stop playing now?
No. We still have about 15 items.
Man of the people over there.
Market Side Baby Kale and Spinach Blend. 8 ounces of that.
Is this baby food?
No, it's Baby Kale and Spinach Blend.
Okay.
8 ounces.
I'm going to say $6.
I'm going to say $1.50.
Wow, good guess, Izzy. $2.68.
This is terrible.
This is the best game ever.
How about this? Grey Poupon Mustard Dijon, 10-ounce bottle.
10 ounce? That feels big to me.
10-ounce bottle.
No. What do you think?
$2. No, I meant get out of here. $2. I meant get out of here. I'm done with this game. You've been fined $2. No, but I meant there it is. We end on that note, Dad. That's enough. $2. Get this and the stupid game out of here. You get out of here. Take your papers with you.
All right, let's see who won.
I won. So tell us about Drake and Kanye. There, it's been announced. I won. Drake and what was that game? Let's never play that again.
What were you thinking,
You've
Billy?
never been to a store in your life.
So it's just me being wrong? Like, that's funny?
You not knowing what things cost. It's funny.
I mean, Izzy wasn't. I won. I don't know what things.
Really
the
win.
one I got wrong was an inflatable kayak. Like, you don't go to the store on a Tuesday to buy an inflatable kayak. That's not something you know about.
Flaw in the game. Not my fault. You came in $30 less than me on the kayak. What do you got for us? All right, Izzy's thoughts on Drake and Kanye West next.
Ricky always wanted to play baseball in the majors. He was playing catch before he could walk, practically lived in the batting cages. He was behind home plate more than he was home. And one day, after all that hard work, he found himself walking into a Major League Baseball stadium. After buying a ticket at the front gate. A nosebleed seat obscured by a pole, but he was in there. No, Ricky never did play in the big leagues, but he did switch his car insurance to Geico, proud partner of Major League Baseball, which saved him a lot. So, all in all, things were good.
Dan Le Batard.
Do you go to the supermarket at all, Dan?
I do. I go to, yes, I do.
Whole Foods or something? That'd be better.
I have a lot of difficulty picturing Dan pushing his shopping cart.
Yeah, he's a handbasket guy.
Stugotz.
No way it's a cart.
Yeah, no.
There's no way it's a
I'd
cart.
be so
No
shocked.
way.
I'd be less shocked if Dan was riding a burro.
No, if he goes shopping cart, he's at the front of it pulling it, not at the back of it.
Really?
If he's doing it, it's not the traditional
Right,
way.
he's not two hands. He's not two hands on the handle.
Yeah, he's in front of it and he's dragging it behind him.
Yeah, as he's picking out the stuff. Yeah.
I have Mike pushing the cart and Dan just going down the aisle.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Guillermo, you've been getting weird fame in a variety of different ways and places. You were telling me a story the other day. Somebody writes in here, my wife is battling cancer. It is a stressful, emotional time. We need the show and the joy from the show more than ever, but I digress. She had a bone biopsy yesterday. The doctor came in to explain the procedure. He looked exactly like Billy. I didn't say anything because it would be inappropriate and unimportant considering the context. But the moment he left, my wife looks up and says, he looks like Guillermo from the shipping container. I love that woman. She is a jewel. Congratulations, Guillermo. You are impacting lives. What did you tell me happened to you the other day? You were telling me some unbelievably crappy celebrity story where you got recognized somewhere or someone. You don't remember what I'm talking about?
No. This morning at Dunkin' Donuts, someone said hello to me, and they said that they used to sell your brother like pottery or something for him to paint.
I thought that word was going to be a little shorter. pottery.
By the way, in case things get slow, we do have enough questions for 2 more rounds.
For the love of God, man.
I thought I was going to love that game. I love The Price is Right. There's nothing more comforting than knowing that if you turn on your TV at 11 Eastern Time, The Price is Right is on, this ruined it for me.
We're doing The Price is Right without the great host, without the audience participation, without the
little hill climber
prizes, the
guy.
pictures, without the graphics. We're doing it on the radio. On AM radio, which is the lowest rung of the show business ladder. Like, what's lower? I dare you. Blogs are higher. What's the hierarchy? In terms of entertainment, if I say AM radio, where do you put it? It's last, isn't it?
Just
AM
above
radio.
Street Performer?
AM radio. Some of you are struggling to get the right frequency so you can hear us correctly. That's a thing that's happening in entertainment.
This is what you want?
Is this the Explain Your Tweets music?
No. I don't think
you
so.
You couldn't even be bothered to do better imaging for this? Like, this is your big moment to shine here as Mike is out, and the way you're going to do it is by shaking your shoulders and playing this music?
Go-Go Squeeze, applesauce.
You know what?
12.5 pounds, 4 count.
We're also doing items that nobody really buys. Like,
that's
really
the other
Get
thing.
out of here.
That's the other thing.
You're going to tell me that no one uses a Brother 130 stitch sewing and quilting machine SQ9185?
I am going to bury you with this dismount, and then you get out of here, okay? You created a game that had me buying a kayak. Leave now. You leave now.
Avid river rapper.
An inflatable kayak.
You had, leave. I am not to be blamed for not knowing what a kayak costs. Why the hell would I know what a kayak costs? You think I've done a lot of kayaking, do you?
It's not just any kayak, Dan. It's a Drift Sun Voyager 2-person inflatable kayak complete with all accessories, 2 paddles, 2 seats, double action pump, and more. Get out of here.
Get out of here.
What's the more?
And more, and more, and the packaging peanuts, and more. What's going on with Drake and Kanye? Are the rest of you interested in this? Are Allison and Chris and Roy and the band Guillermo, are you interested in everything that's happening with these 2 immensely famous people?
Whatever fills the time and gets us content, yeah, sure.
Man. So the other night I was just on Twitter randomly and I came across this Twitter thread of this guy putting out this theory that Drake has been telling us in this album, Scorpion, that he put out, that he has slept with Kim K, which of course would be Kanye's wife. Kiki, which is her nickname. Kiki, do you love me? A lot of people recognize that's her nickname. There's a whole lot of other little clues in there, but this all goes back to when Pusha T had that beef, story of Adidan on Drake, and Drake never replied.
Well, he replied, but he replied in notes,
Correct.
Which was weird.
He didn't reply in a diss track, and people were wondering, oh, that's the checkmate by Pusha T. Drake doesn't even have a response. He was just, outed for having this kid, even though he told us in a previous song he had a kid. It was just, lyrically in there, and you just had to figure that out. And so he's mad at Kanye because he thought Kanye gave him the information on the kid. Therefore, Pusha T
gave Pusha T the information he needed to do a diss track that made all of us go, wow, Drake just got buried.
Correct. But there were headlines after that said the reason Drake did not respond is because he had something that would bury Kanye. Not only did he have something, he wrote it, recorded it, and has it somewhere stashed that would bury Kanye to the point where people would say, and I don't know if this is exaggerating or not, jump off a building if he heard it.
Wow. And I don't know if he's gotten into it. There's all kinds of things where he's talking about, people are looking deep into these lyrics where he's saying going right late at night.
Oh, yeah, they live around the corner from each other.
Yeah, of their houses and where they are. Where there's smoke, there's fire, Dan.
And now here's the thing is there's Instagram posts where you've got Kim K looking, posing some way and saying, I'm shy, and Drake doing the same thing in one of his. There's some connections back in the day and everything, right? And so yesterday, I believe it was yesterday or late, the previous day, Kanye randomly comes out with this apology to Drake. Just completely random. Not apologizing for a couple of things, apologizing for, he says he didn't give Pusha T that information, apologized for leaving him off this track that he did called Lift Yourself. And that just raised everybody's eyebrows because they're just like, well, wait a second. This follows the theory that says, hey, Drake and Kim K. And it follows the idea that says if this came out, he would be absolutely floored. And now all of a sudden he comes out with an apology and people know that song is out there. So my question is, obviously other than what does he have on Kanye, my question is Kanye done? with this song not even coming out? Because is it worse for him if the song comes out and he can find a way to brush it off regardless of what it is? Or is it worse for him that it's in a vault somewhere and it says, hey, this would end Kanye? That's what's interesting to me.
You guys smell that? It's smoke.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Did you just rub your red beard against the microphone in a way that was scratchy and unhygienic? Yes, that's a yes.
The boring theory, the more boring theory would be this, where Kim Kardashian, who had to go on social media to deny that, she ever slept with Drake, just told Kanye, look, it's getting to our marriage. These rumors are ridiculous. If you don't end this right now with an apology, we're in trouble. That's the boring answer. But I don't believe that to be true.
Okay, so
That's boring, Dan. We don't believe that.
Well, I thought you were for sure going to come in with your mind-blown character. I've never seen you so engaged in anything as you were engaged in the soap opera gossip of the hip-hop community that Izzy's given you.
Yeah, and it's because people are holding back. And then there's this whole other element of it. Do you know who Jay Prince is?
Hold on, Dan. Get ready for this. Get ready for Jay Prince. Go tell him it's
right. I thought you were saying something else. See, so Jay Prince is essentially he's a gangster. Like, people are afraid of this man. And so the idea was Jay Prince told Drake, nah, man, we don't need you to put that out there. Like, the gangster of, the guy that people go to take care of things, apparently, or he takes care of things. I have no idea how this works.
You need to
I
be quiet
don't even
now.
want to talk
In
about
fact,
Jay
you
Prince.
leave now. You leave right now. 2 minutes.
Drake,
Get out of here. I know this, Jay Prince, and we can't be speaking this way.
You're right. I'm out of here.
You leave right now for 2 minutes. Thank you.
Can I stay out for 32 minutes so I miss the Gary Busey interview?
Gary Busey joins us next.
Dan Le Batard.
It's Rich Eisen stealing my material. It is Jimmy Traina stealing my material. Hey, get out of here, man.
Who is that? Who is Jimmy Traina?
He's a media writer, I think, out of New York, who I happen to like.
Stugotz.
There it is. There it is. The pivot of the Stugotz in the schmarmy salesperson.
No, I happen to like Jimmy. I don't know Jimmy, but I happen to like Jimmy. Jimmy Traina sounds like a guy I would hang out with.
It does. I think you're pronouncing his name wrong, by the way, but keep it moving.
Oh, whatever. I like Jimmy.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Gary Busey has written the Bible. Basic instructions before leaving Earth. The Bible. Buseyisms. This is what the Big Lebowski True Grit actor Jeff Bridges has to say about Buseyisms, the book. Get to know Gary Busey, who once told me he was an angel in an earth suit. Indeed, he is, giving us messages he received from on high, messages that inspire and support us in living a beautiful, fulfilled life. Get to know my dear friend, Gary Busey. He joins us now because his book is out. His Bible is out. Thank you, Gary, for joining us.
It's great to be here with you. How are you doing?
Excellent, sir. You are a source of great positivity. You are indeed an angel in an earth suit. You know that, right?
Yeah, I know that. And this book is the experiences that I've lived in my life. It's not about me. I'm not giving advice, but I'm letting you know what I've been through to show you that no matter what you're going through, you can get through it because it's easy when you believe in your truth. And the word truth, T-R-U-T-H, stands for taking real understanding to heart. And it's a beautiful place to be when you know you have the truth. You're a winner. You're victorious. You already got your medal.
How hard was it to go through some of the stuff, the addiction, the bankruptcy, the motorcycle accident, the divorce? You cover all of it in your book. How hard was it to revisit all of that?
It wasn't hard at all. It's part of life. I'm grateful that I went through it to see there ain't nothing to it. And everything the people are going through in the world, whatever they're going through, it's only temporary, and you can get through it if you believe in yourself, believe in the love that you own, and believe in the freedom you were given when you were born. And the word freedom, F-R-E-E-D-O-M, stands for facing real, exciting energy, developing out of miracles.
Out of miracles,
like
yes,
that.
freedom. What would you say, again, Gary Busey with us, he's written a Bible, basic instructions before leaving Earth. He likes his acronyms. The Buseyisms are big on the acronyms.
No. They're not acronyms. They're Buseyisms.
I'm sorry, you know what? I stand corrected. Thank you, Gary, for doing that.
Oh, it's okay. You did good.
No, I needed that public humbling. You are right. I needed to get it right. When you talked about going through some of the stuff that you don't regret going through, what's something that you look back on and you're like, Well, at the time, that seemed like the hardest thing in the world to go through, but now I can look back at it and say, no, it was misplaced. My fear was misplaced.
No, nothing is hard to go through. You just go through it, and you don't look at it as negative, judgmental, rejection, abandonment. You don't look at it like that. This is the part of life that was given you to go through to be a better person, and it's easy to do if you stay in your truth and stay in your love without judging anything. You give with love, and the love that you give will come back to you tenfold. It's beautiful to live with love.
What is love?
You're doing. That's what the book talks about. And the things I went through, out of body, brain surgery, trip to the other side, near death, cancer in the middle of my face, things I've been through in all my movies and choices I made with drugs. It's great. I go through it to see there ain't nothing to it. And everybody out there that reads a book that's going through something hard for them, they will realize, hey, I don't have to do this anymore because Gary went through it worse than me, and he got out of it because he believed in himself and he believed in life. And the word life, L-I-F-E, stands for living in forever eternity. And you don't die. Death, E-A-T-H, that stands for don't expect a tragedy here.
Gary Busey with us on ESPN Radio. And again, Buseyisms is the name of the book. It is available now.
Yeah, you got to get the book. You'll have so much fun reading it. My soulmate, Stephanie Sampson, wrote it. Took her 10 months. She would take my stories and she would put it in her own writing. And it's readable, and every chapter starts with a Buseyism. And for instance, the word change is chapter 9.
Don't give away the whole book, Gary. Gary, you're not going to give reasons. I mean, if you keep giving away the whole secrets of the book, go ahead with change. But if you keep giving away all the Buseyisms, why is anyone going to buy Buseyisms? I'm sorry I yelled at you. Gary Busey with us on ESPN Radio. You mentioned the visit to the other side. I'm remiss if I don't ask a follow-up there. What details can you give us from that out-of-body experience?
Read the book. It's in the book.
Wait a minute. So are all these Buseyisms.
I was just talking to you about it, and you interrupted me.
I'm sorry.
I don't know what that's about.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I interrupted you. Please continue.
About what? What's your question? What do you want to know?
The out-of-body experience and the visit to the other side.
Well, wow. It's hard to explain something to someone who hadn't been there or has no idea what it's like. But to me, it was a beautiful trip to the other side, which you feel love, understanding, and trust and protection like you can't feel on earth. And I was surrounded by hundreds of angels, big balls of light that are breathing and glowing, and they're about as big as a volleyball. And you can't look that angel right into the light because you'll end up on your stomach because the love is so powerful it just knocks you down. And the three lights lined up in front of my essence, and the light on the left was abalone and mother of pearl color, and it spoke to me in an androgynous voice and thought, and told me what I was doing was good. I was going in a good direction. But what my responsibility was for mankind, I had to look for help in the spiritual realm. And it said, you may now come with us or return to your body and continue your destiny. It's your choice. So I went back and started over again. After the brain surgery, I had to learn how to walk, talk, eat, dress myself, all over again. It was an emotional, mental, spiritual, physical rebirth that I did myself. And I took the word faith and wrapped that faith around me, and that was the healing aspect to my ordinance. Faith stands for fantastic adventures in trusting Him. And this is not religious. This is spiritual. The difference between organized religion and spirituality, organized religion is built for people to be afraid of hell. Spirituality is for people who have been there. And I'm in the second group.
He knows he nailed that. He's proud of himself. Gary Busey with us. Again, Buseyisms is the name of the book. So when you say you've been through hell, tell us what it is. At what point did it feel most like hell?
Well, you create it yourself. It's a feeling you go through that feels natural. But when you come out of it and make the decision to change, that's when you know you're in a very, very slow, burning your thoughts, burning your ideas, burning your consciousness, burning your truth, burning your purpose. And not burning like a fire, but burning like taking it away. When you let go of your truth and your gifts, that's a hell. Heaven is different, and I have been there. And that's a beautiful place to be.
Black belts, you own many of them. You own many black belts in many arts, correct?
I have honorary black belts in 4 martial arts, the ones we use in the fight scene in Lethal Weapon. Capoeira, a Brazilian martial arts that you fight with your arms, legs, elbows, and hands without weapons. Taekwondo and Judo Jiu-Jitsu from Brazil, and Jailhouse Rock, a martial art. It's not Elvis. This is a martial art developed in prisons for fighting in close quarters.
Wait a minute, Jailhouse Rock is you that's an honorary black belt in tight quarters in prisons. Jailhouse Rock.
It's a black belt. I use honorary because that's a safe word to make everybody feel like they can get it too because it's honorary. If you do the right things, talk the right way, behave the right way, you'll get anything in an honorary position.
Very good. So again, the new book, Buseyisms, is available now. I need clarity on something here. Celebrity Apprentice, Meatloaf really lost his cool with you. He wanted to fight you because he thought you stole his art supplies. Can we finally have the truth on that story? Like, what the hell happened there? Did you steal the art supplies?
No, I did not. I had my own art supplies, and Meatloaf went off on a tirade, promising to put me in the hospital in 4 minutes, and I just stood there. And then I saw the producers get in front of Meatloaf 1 inch from his nose, screaming at him. And Meatloaf came and apologized to me. And I said, okay, that's good. And then we went in the boardroom. I didn't say anything about it. But anybody who would behave that way and a real job would be fired on the spot, lose their 20-year pension, lose the gold watch, and lose any honor they had with working in the company. So I said nothing. I'm protecting everyone I can by not being harmful. And what happened. There's a beautiful thing that happened. And Meatloaf got fired after I did for doing the same thing he did with me.
Well, you really didn't know you had 4 black belts.
I love him. He's a great guy, great artist, wonderful artist. No. So talking bad about nobody, talking bad about anybody is not my way of living.
We love you, sir. Gary Busey, the new book, Buseyisms, is available now. Thank you. Yes, we do love him, Roy. I don't care look at me however you like. I love Gary Busey. I don't care who knows it. Thank you for being on with us, Gary.
Who's looking at you bad because you love me?
Roy here. He's against love. He's against love.
You know what he did?
Yeah. He's against love.
He banished his purpose, and he banished his personality, and he banished his banishing because he's okay. He's a great guy.
No, he's not. No, he's not. You're incorrect, Gary, but thank you for being on. You're the only great guy here.
You're welcome. Thank you. You're great, too.
Don Batard. I'm going to eat my wings with blue cheese, and a lot of it, and I'm going to come in here with blue cheese on my face and a couple of napkins. And too bad. Stop complaining about it.
Stugotz.
No one told you can't eat wings. You decided that on your own. That's a you choice, not a me choice. It was a me choice, an us choice. We'd be eating wings every day. We'd both have blue. We'd be slathered in blue cheese, both you and I.
We'd be slathering it on each other?
Yes, that's my dream.
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
How did that go? I don't check what people are reacting to. That went for me as well as it could have possibly gone with Gary Busey. You got an afterlife experience. You got him agitated. He was mad at me for interrupting him.
I was a little worried at the beginning where it was just, regardless of what you asked him, it was going to be a book sales job followed by an acronym, which could have gotten kind of funny if he found a way to end every sentence right. on one of the words with which he has an acronym for. But I think it got really interesting when you cut him off and he got angry. Like, that's when we all thought the tension was there.
You really shouldn't have done that. Why did you do that?
Well, because I make things so nice. I make things awkward. And I don't want nice Gary Busey. I want crazy Gary Busey.
I didn't know there was nice Gary Busey.
The audience wants crazy Gary Busey, not nice Gary Busey. See, this is the conflict. Gary Busey is selling you a book about nice Gary Busey. When people have Gary Busey on as a guest, they're not looking for his Bible work. They're looking for give me maximum Gary Busey.
I'm actually fascinated by that stuff.
Yeah,
like man. The idea of him being on another plane, on another dimension, whether you call that being on the other side or whatever you see, when you think about how much of our brain we actually use, when you think about how much else there is to know, when we see like let's say, clinically insane people, they might just be on a different dimension. I'm not even kidding. Like,
Guillermo,
this is dead serious.
Guillermo, put this on the poll. Are clinically insane people on another spiritual dimension where they might have understanding that the rest of us don't?
How many interviews have you done in your career? Guesstimate. Tens of thousands?
Sure.
How many people have you spoken to that have been to the other side? You completely took that for granted.
What do you mean I took it for granted?
You took it for granted.
I asked
You
a
laughed at the
follow-up
man.
question. What do you mean I laughed at the man?
You made a joke of Gary
I
Busey.
didn't laugh. What?
He yelled at me before it even started, so I was waiting for it to go awry.
Well, let's hear the awkward moment where I almost made Gary Busey snap, because really, Izzy does some sideline reporting, and frankly, the best thing that can happen in sideline reporting is that someone either gets mad at you or curses.
The word change is chapter 9.
Don't give away the whole book, Gary. Gary, you're not going to give reasons. I mean, if you keep giving away the whole secrets of the book, go ahead with change. But if you keep giving away all the Buseyisms, why is anyone going to buy Buseyisms? I'm sorry I yelled at you. Gary Busey with us on ESPN Radio. You mentioned the visit to the other side. I'm remiss if I don't ask a follow-up there. What details can you give us from that out-of-body experience?
Read the book. It's in the book.
Wait a minute. So are all these Buseyisms.
I was just talking to you about it, and you interrupted me.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I don't know what that's about.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I interrupted you. Please continue.
About what? What's your question? What do you want to know?
The out-of-body experience and the visit to the other side.
Well, wow. It's hard to explain something to someone who hadn't been there or has no idea what it's like.
But he explained it amazingly.
He did. By the way, at what second, like millisecond of that silence did you realize that he was offended and you'd have to apologize?
I was trying to just fill the silence with comedy, because that's what the job is.
Did you ever think Gary Busey could own you?
Yes, of course. With any one of his black belts. How was he mean to you, Allison? How?
He was on a speakerphone, and so I asked him, can you pick up the phone? And he snapped at me, no. And he said, there's no phone here. I'm like, there's no handset there? And then, handlers, no, he can. He has to use it. And we were barking. And so I thought...
I don't believe he yelled at you. He's all about love.
Oh, no, there was no love there. There was no love there.
I think he fluctuates wildly between love and not love.
He wasn't thrilled. He was like, no, I'm not doing it. And it was just like, okay, I'm not going to win this.
Well, that was our first sign, by the way, that the interview might go. Well, the first sign is Gary Busey coming up next. The second sign is when he tells you and his handlers tell you, hey, I'm going speaker. We got a hearing aid situation. Because I ask you this question. What's worse than Gary Busey? Gary Busey with a hearing aid.
Stugotz here. Football returns Thursday night, and huge cash prizes are up for grabs at DraftKings, the leader in one-week fantasy sports. For the season opener, DraftKings is hosting a fantasy football contest that has a $1 million top prize and is just $10 to enter. For a limited time only, if you sign up with code HUDDLE, you'll get a free entry with your first deposit. So download the app or go to DraftKings.com now and use code HUDDLE to sign up and get a free shot at $1 million with your first deposit. Only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Ron Magill, if you want to talk to him, 786-456-4837. If you're not watching on ESPN Ooze, we are wearing safari hats, and this is our most popular segment where we talk to the animal guy about the animal stuff. He's got a new television show coming out. He is one of these heroes now. He is a wildlife hero. That's right. Just like all the famous people who have television shows who walk around telling you about the animals, this is a dream come true, right, Ron?
It is a dream come true because it's a Spanish version basically of Wild Kingdom. And for me, I'm tired of watching these shows, when animals attack the world's deadliest. They keep portraying animals like something that's all out to kill you as opposed to the incredible nature that it is. And, I want to instill wonder back in kids, and to be able to do it in Spanish to the Hispanic audience, me being of Hispanic descent, I think it's important. And I'm looking forward to doing it. I'm very, very thankful that we're going to be doing this show.
What are the details?
Well, it's called Mundo Salvaje con Ron Magill, which is basically Wild Kingdom with Ron Magill. It's going to be coming out on the HITN network, which can be found on Dish, DirecTV, Comcast, all of them. It's a network out of New York, and basically I'm kind of the host. I'm doing the ins and outs, but we've gotten some of the best footage from the BBC, from National Geographic, to put together some real great packages that are going to show you the wonders of wildlife. I mean, you're going to see predation, you're going to see some of the things, the potential danger of animals, but it's going to be inciting a respect as opposed to a fear, and that's something that's real important to me, because I think once you respect nature, you can really enjoy it, and you don't have to be afraid of it.
Paul, you're on with Ron Magill of Zoo Miami. Go ahead.
Ron, what I want to ask you is, what's more of a worse bite that'll injure you or harm you more? Is it a black widow or eastern diamondback rattlesnake?
Oh, eastern diamondback rattlesnake. There's no question there. I mean, there certainly may be an occasion where somebody has an unusual, almost anaphylactic reaction to black widow venom, which may be, critical at that point. But generally speaking, to the general public, an eastern diamondback rattlesnake is the largest venomous snake in the United States and is far more dangerous than a black widow.
Ron, I was watching an episode of Rick and Morty where Rick devised a device that Morty could listen to animals speak. And squirrels eventually took over that universe, and they had to go to a whole other universe because they were plotting yada, yada, yada. If you could listen to any animal's thoughts, which animal would it be?
Oh, there's no question. It would either be dolphins or elephants. I think that both of those animals are so incredibly intelligent. They have a very clear language between themselves. They're very social. I believe they pass down knowledge. I believe they have cultures. And just to listen to them, to be able to understand what they're saying, would simply blow me away.
They'd be making fun of your mustache. Parker, you're on with Ron Magill of Zoo Miami. Go ahead, Parker.
Yeah, if you had like a Dr. Dolittle situation where you could have animals living with you, completely domesticated, what's the best animals that you would have in your house to live with?
3 animals that you would like to tame, or if you were down with that, you would tame and like to have in your home.
Well, I wouldn't be able to have them in my home because they'd be too large, but I got to go back to elephant again just to be able to understand it. I think it would be really, for whatever purpose, I know I'm very much against having big cats as pets, but if I knew one could be tame, and there's nothing like a tiger. I mean, a tiger is just the most majestic animal to me, and to be able to have one that I know would be safe and truly domesticated, though I don't agree with domesticating wild animals, I'm just going along with the question here, a tiger would definitely be one of them. I think also a harpy eagle. My God, what an incredible bird, the most powerful bird of prey in the world. What?
Got to have a bird. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, harpy eagle for sure. And then, I hate to say it, guys, but like a massive crocodile. So I'd have a mammal, a bird, and a reptile, and those would be my representatives of those groups.
I saw a video the other day. Ron planned a trip to Africa for me that I just got back from, and it wild safaris and all that stuff. But I saw a video the other day, and it was one of these safari vehicles, and it was draped in cheetahs. Cheetahs were just playing like cats on the safari. Yeah. Like, what is that? How is that possible?
Well, that happens to me, Dan. I've been out on safari on a vehicle. You know what it's like. You go out there. There are cheetahs that actually have learned to use the vehicle as a lookout tower. So they will get up on top of the hood of the vehicle, or actually on the very top of the vehicle, and use it as a lookout tower to get a better vantage view of what prey may be along there. And there's a couple of videos where actually one went into the back seat of the vehicle, and the guy's scared out of his mind, but that cheetah never posed a threat to him at all. Cheetahs get a bad rap. Cheetahs are chickens, to put it simply. There's never been a documented account of a wild cheetah attacking a human being, and I promise you that if you approached one in the wild, it would run away from you.
I'm surprised by that. Put that on the poll, Guillermo. Are you surprised that there's never been a documented cheetah attack on a human being? Ryan, you're on with Ron Magill of Zoo Miami. Go ahead, Ryan.
Hey, Ron. If you had to choose one animal to play lockdown D against LeBron in Game 7 of the NBA Finals, which animal would you choose and why?
Great question.
Wow, lockdown D. I can't think of an animal that would be big enough and fast enough. That's the problem. I mean, you can say an obvious thing like, I pick an elephant, but the thing would foul out right away.
Yes, that's the problem.
That's the problem. You have to have the dexterity, and in reality, you know what I would do if it had the intelligence? If it had the intelligence, but then again, it'd have to be in the water. I would pick like an octopus, because that's what it would take. It would take 8 arms with great coordination, great dexterity, but again, an octopus on dry land is on the hardwood. He can't get up there the way he would. So there really isn't an animal.
He's going to shoot over the octopus all day.
He's not going to shoot over the octopus if the octopus could move in air the way it can move in water. He's not, Dan. He's not. Okay?
What about a really muscly kangaroo?
No, not really, because the kangaroo has little tiny, T-Rex front legs. Okay, it can't block. It doesn't do anything. It's got the big back legs, but it's got to use those back legs to stand up. Those little front legs are going to be a joke trying to block a LeBron shot. The only way he can do it is, he'll foul out. Everything's going to foul out.
I think the elephant is also going to get LeBron in foul trouble, though, because he's going to be taking charges.
Dan, for once you raise a good point there. If he does take enough of the court where he could just basically stand in the key as a defensive person, and LeBron cannot get around him. You are right about that. That's a good point, and God bless you are learning on this show, and I'm proud of you.
That's right. And then the trunk, he'd be blocking everything. It'd be
trunk. Listen, a big elephant is going to be at least 10 to 12 feet at the shoulder. Add the trunk to that, you're adding another 5 to 6 feet, so you're going to have a 16-foot. Yeah, you're right. Assuming he's fast enough, and the reality is, Dan, it's a huge animal. He just basically has to stand in the key, open the ears. Let's make it an African elephant, so it has the big ears, takes up some more space. You can't get around that. You cannot get around that.
Isaiah Thomas.
Good call, Dan.
Yeah, Isaiah Thomas. You'd be better off being small. Bryson, you're on with Ron Magill of Zoo Miami. Go ahead, Bryson.
Hey, Ryan. Animals like to conserve energy, so why do whales breach? Why do they jump out of the water? Isn't that a waste of energy?
Good question. Well, it's also, first of all, it's part of a communication they feel. It's part of a demonstration. They hit the water and they make demonstrations. Males are usually the ones that do that more often. But another thing they do it for is to remove parasites off of their bodies. Sometimes you'll notice that whales will get mollusks and things that build up barnacles and stuff on their bodies, and that can be a little irritating on the skin. And when they breach and they slam themselves down in the water, it shakes all that stuff off. So that is one of the ways that they try to eliminate parasites. And sometimes it just feels good, and you know what? It's also fun. People like to conserve energy too, but we like to play basketball, right? We like to play football, right? It's a sport. These are intelligent animals that have incredible intelligence, and they enjoy playing, and that's part of playing.
Wilson, you're on with Ron Magill of Zoo Miami. Go ahead, Wilson.
Hi, Ron. After not having any success with my homemade nectar for my hummingbirds, I was told to add some food coloring, and so I went ahead and added some red dye, and the birds ate it right up. My next batch, I made a green dye, same recipe, and the hummingbirds just are going for it. So are they more attracted to a certain color or what? Thanks, Ron.
Absolutely. It's a good question. They are definitely attracted to red. It's their number one color. It's the color that is on the flowers that they like the most. And flowers have actually adapted to have that red color to attract hummingbirds, to help them be pollinated by the hummingbirds. When those hummingbirds go get the nectar, they're picking up pollen, just like bees do. And when they go to the next plant, they're pollinating the plants. When you see hummingbird feeders in the store, look at the base of the feeder. It's always red in color because that's what attracts the birds. It is scientifically proven that red is the number one attracting color to hummingbirds.
Dane, you're on with Ron Magill of Zoo Miami. Go ahead, Dane.
Hi, Ron. Do you support the reintroduction of wild bison to the plains, and would you support a wild mammoth herd in a Jurassic Park situation?
I do support the reintroduction of wild bison in the plains because we have to remember they originally existed there. The removal of bison in North America is one of the most catastrophic elimination of mammal species in our history. So it's not like we're introducing bison to places they never were or don't belong. They do belong there if we can provide the plains again for them. And let me tell you something. The American plains are one of the most endangered habitats in the world today. So keep that in mind. So to be able to introduce those bison in there would be good. As much as I would love to see a mastodon or one of these prehistoric creatures, I don't like screwing with Mother Nature. I don't think it would be wise to ever try to reintroduce an extinct, prehistoric animal back into an area that has obviously evolved beyond its time.
No video today because McGill's internet is not working. But if you want to support Ron Magill, he's been doing this for years, very popular, for free, does it every week for free. If you want to support the things that Ron Magill believes in, the Ron Magill Conservation Fund is for the animals, and it is a good place to start. So just check it out on the internet. Ron, we will talk to you again next week, sir.
Look forward to it, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
I'm a squeaky toy, and I've got one job, getting chomped on by this little ankle sniffer. So pardon me for feeling inept compared to Geico, who does so much more. Like while I'm getting slobbered on, Geico is creating cool technology like their mobile app, which lets people pay their bills or file a claim. Plus, Geico is the fastest growing auto insurer for the last 10 years. Is it too much for me to ask for one more feature? Fast and friendly claim service like Geico, maybe? Oh, great. I'm getting buried again.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
Don Le Batard.
But I don't know what you do with the public comments, because last time we heard from Hassan Whiteside, he's questioning the way he's used, and then 10 days later he's saying publicly, I believe in all of Spo's decisions. I believe in him. Nothing Hassan says means anything. It's cartoon words.
Stugotz.
You seem really broken up about this, man.
It does seem like you're holding back tears.
Yeah. You want a napkin?
What's going on?
Because of the way I'm speaking?
Yeah.
Drink some.
It sounds like I'm emotional about this.
That Barry Jackson report hit you hard, man.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Some of you are looking at the contracts being thrown around the NFL, Khalil Mack or Aaron Rodgers or Odell Beckham, and you are aghast at the amount of money being spent on football players. I just want to give you some information now as a stat of the day that perhaps you will enjoy.
Start of the day, start of the day, it is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day, it is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day, it is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day, it is the start of the day.
So we told you that Homer Bailey earns more guaranteed than Odell Beckham. 6 years, $105 million, $58 million of it the next couple of years. ESPN Stats and Info reports that on Wednesday, the Reds fell to 1-19 and Homer Bailey starts this season. That is the proper response by Izzy to lose your mind laughing. The Reds are now 1-19 whenever he starts a baseball game.
Money well spent.
For them. That seems, that has to be something that hasn't happened before, is it? Or maybe like in the times of baseball when everybody was named Heine? You know what I mean? Like there's no way. Can that? Oh, well, here it is. Okay, I'm sorry. Here it is right from ESPN Stats and Info. The only other time a team has gone 1-19 in a pitcher's first 20 starts of the season was Frank Bates. In 1899, for the Cleveland Spiders, those Spiders lost 134 games.
Does it have that dude's salary on there?
Oh, my God. Homer Bailey. Oof. God bless you for being America's greatest thief. So, Todd Frazier, speaking of thieves and cheaters.
The Todd father.
Thank you. Izzy. Todd Frazier, you've been delighted by, if you guys haven't heard this story, it's amazing. I'm surprised it hasn't happened before. Todd Frazier, well, go ahead and explain it, Izzy, because it's one of the craziest plays you'll ever see in baseball.
So Todd Frazier's heading toward the third base foul line and toward the stands there, trying to catch a foul ball that's heading into the stands. And he seems to put his glove in the vicinity of the baseball, falls over the stand there into the crowd, and while he's doing it, there's a green bag on the tabletop there, and he knocks a what turns out to be a rubber baseball out of the bag as he's falling over. Said baseball falls in front of him as well, so he's on the ground, his stomach sort of sideways, right? The umpire's coming over to check if he's got the ball indeed, and he comes up with a ball and calls him out. He runs off, Todd father, runs off back onto the field, throws the ball into the stands, and then goes into
the rubber ball.
The rubber ball.
A rubber baseball.
Without the ump inspecting it or checking anything out, he saw a white round thing in the glove. That guy's out. Todd Frazier admitted that he pulled a fast one on the umps.
That's great. How is that not the biggest story in sports going on right now?
Cheater. I mean we get on people for cheating with steroids.
All the time, man. This is Lance Armstrong.
I don't understand, but he's ruined it for everybody now, right? Like now all these umps that got duped, they're just like, man, I can't even do my job right because you guys are cheating. Now every time somebody catches a ball, whether it be, at the fence, maybe if there's a crowd there, or in foul territory, it's going to be, hang on, let me check that ball and make sure it's not.
How do the umps and all the world's technology fall for the banana in the tailpipe?
I was going to say that's a Stugotz of the Day nominee, but he wouldn't have admitted it, so that's not.
No. Stu would have talked about how difficult the catch was and everything else.
I'm surprised Todd Frazier admitted it. I'm surprised he didn't just keep playing coy the whole time. But what are the greatest examples, individual examples of cheating in games? You've got Sammy Sosa's bat breaking apart and Super Bowl spilling all over the field. Albert Bell had a situation. Joe Negro had a situation where he tried to throw the nail file that it was in his back pocket that he was scuffing baseballs with, that he tried to throw it past the umpires as they came and frisked him. This has to go in the pantheon of great cheating moments. What are you laughing about, Guillermo?
We just got an update from Stugotz on what he's doing, and he says he just took a picture with Dr. Phil.
All right, we need to check in with Stugotz next.
Don Le Batard. Dr. Phil was a middle linebacker for Tulsa.
That's not true.
Come on, please. Please tell me
that can't be true.
Guillermo, say it is.
Guillermo, put it on the poll. Did you know that Dr. Phil was a middle linebacker for Tulsa?
Stugotz.
What are you doing? You're offsides. Now that's encroachment. Are there any other football terms?
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Guillermo, put it on the poll, please. Who would be a better lockdown defender on LeBron, a elephant or a gorilla? Just put it on the poll and let people decide for themselves. The commercial for Colin Kaepernick came out yesterday. Izzy Gutierrez sitting in for Stugotz. Stugotz is in the middle of giving his presentation right now. 5 minutes of wowing the crowd. Hopefully we'll check in with him before the end of the show to get an update on what the hell he's doing in New York. He's talking to salespeople. He's selling them on the idea of this show.
I floated the idea of having him be on the phone as he was giving his pitch to people, and everybody here shut that down immediately.
I
love
that
think
idea.
That's a good idea.
It's a great idea. It's not great for the company.
No.
It's great for entertainment. It would be a great idea to just mic him up and just eavesdrop on whatever it is that he's telling these salespeople. God, I wish we'd done that. We would have if we were braver.
Listen, buddy, number one podcast, I'm telling you right now. Come with us if you want money. We'll take you there. No big deal.
So
I just assume he goes up there and reads out of his personal record book for 4.5 minutes and then says, Mike, take it home.
That's right. Bring us home, Mike. The Kaepernick ad comes out yesterday. It's 2 minutes long. Evidently, it's going to air tonight during Thursday Night Football during the game. Nike, a corporate sponsor of the league, one of its biggest corporate sponsors with a 10-year contract, without telling the league, in the league's most divisive issue at the league's most divisive time, Nike has blindsided the NFL with a commercial that will now air during the game. I don't know if all 2 minutes of that are airing. It's voiced by Colin Kaepernick, and it's a series of uplifting stories, and Colin Kaepernick is in the middle of it. Froed out. Maximum frode.
I sort of think I don't think enough people, and I know, look, we've had this conversation a million times about how whatever it is, the conversation that Colin Kaepernick began has been hijacked and is going in entirely different directions. And so what I just want people to do is just figure out exactly what Colin's talking about, because it's not just those stories that you see in the news about, usually young black men getting mistreated by police, getting killed by police even. But it's a greater storyline. And I just challenge you to just go watch some documentaries. You don't even have to read a lot. I know reading is boring. You don't have to read. Watch some really great documentaries out there to put you in the place of people like Colin Kaepernick or people, before, and seeing what this country really is, really does, really has done to African Americans over the decades and over the centuries. And even still happening right now. I don't think people really they get into this conversation, but they don't understand the context almost whatsoever.
Well, that conversation is deep waters, and it's not where most of the time picking sides on this has been spent. I will say this. There is something uncomfortable for me, even understanding the touch that Nike can have on these things. The literal commercialization of this is something that I find bothering me as it's happening, even as I could laud the participants or believe in the participants and still feel like there's a cheapening element to literally commercializing police brutality. You want to have a conversation about police brutality and racism. That's not the conversation we're having. We're having a conversation about flags and knees and anthems and the idea of commercializing police brutality. There's something about it that doesn't feel to me. I am blaming here. I am doing something that people did to Kaepernick, which is attack the messenger, attack. So in feeling uncomfortable by this commercialization, I'm saying that there is no right way to protest this. But I do think that this is almost the most diluted form that someone can do it with, where they're actually profiting off it. It's good for their business, and they can make it really slick as well. There's something about it that feels wrong to me.
Isn't that just a product of where we are today in general? Like, everything has to be tied to something, and Nike it's part of Americana. Nike is symbolic. It's grand, especially in the world of sports, right? And so you place that there, you put the argument, the actual conversation, if you want to have it, because there aren't, there's not going to be a bunch of flags and kneeling. I mean, they show Kaepernick kneeling, of course, but if you want to have the conversation, you have to think to yourself, well, why is it doing this? And if you make it a mainstream issue, the actual topic, a mainstream issue, like putting it in the heart of NFL football in a Nike commercial, I think that maybe it in your eyes cheapens it. In my eyes, just brings it to as many people as possible, and therefore they can decide to do with it what they want.
Fair enough. But wouldn't you want Nike? Like, to me, real bravery here. Not, look, the stock price is back up, and people have told you about what the market research shows on the timing of this, 3 days before the NFL season, before an earnings report. Marketing research suggests that millennials and a generation, if not even a culture, a generation is going to appreciate this. If you were going to really be brave, and maybe they've got this in the works, address police brutality in the ads. Address racism. It's easy to frame it in sports with, hey, look, there are legless people and they're achieving. No, the conversation Kaepernick wants to have isn't that one. That's not what he is anymore. That's not what he represents as a symbol, that he's been blackballed. Because can we have that conversation in a Nike ad? You want that with your sports? Conversation about police brutality, the conversation about racism. Does Nike dare enter those waters beyond a slick campaign?
Does Nike simply then just open the door for him to have that conversation in more places or have more people listen? If that's the end game, then great. I don't think Nike is taking on the responsibility to do Colin Kaepernick's job. They're giving him an even greater platform to say, hey, this is meaningful to people. And maybe they're going to tell you why. Like you said, maybe there's something in the works, or maybe there's some sort of deep dive that they take that won't be on TV, that maybe on a YouTube channel somewhere. But if at the very least they give Colin more of that opportunity and open more doors and open more eyes, because they're going to be on the right side of history, so other opposers may rethink this, then maybe that does the job as well.
I didn't love the commercial. I thought Nike was going to do better. I rolled my eyes at the commercial, like just the blatant commercialism of, look, we're going to celebrate the greatest things in sports, and also, hey, this guy's been blackballed.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea of the commercial is what really matters. The actual commercial, you're right, I don't think it was executed that well.
But maybe they've got more. Maybe they've got more in play. I know how I sound, right? Because there aren't a lot of corporate sponsors willing to wade in these waters at all. So the sneaker company will do. The powerful sneaker company will do. But I'm telling you that I'm watching that commercial and I'm like, okay, this is slick and it's nice. And again, it's not Colin talking. Like, I mean, he's voiceovering. But he's voiceovering the things that we all believe in sports, about how uplifting sports can be. And we all love the underdogs and sacrifices and all that stuff, unless the sacrifices are the ones the Steelers offensive linemen have to make, in which case they get mad at Le'Veon Bell. But I do wonder, can Nike even enter those waters? Like, defiantly? Can Nike enter those waters instead of marketed and slickly pitched? Can Nike enter those waters aggressively? Because they've got the power to do it. They've got the power to go to campaign on behalf of Colin Kaepernick. Like, really get behind him in a way that could actually instigate change in the way that Nike and sports aspires to in its best moments.
And then if they do that, now it's one thing to get behind Colin Kaepernick and have people burning your apparel and everything else and saying they hate you. But if you eliminate the Colin Kaepernick portion of it and just, as you're saying, address police brutality. Where are the boos going to come from? Like, where are all these people going to come from and say, hey, I'm going to burn my shoes because I like when police, attack people.
Are brutalizing. I can't get away from this conversation. I was at a 2-year-old's birthday party the other day, and 4 people came up to me apologizing, telling me specifically, I've been told not to broach this subject with you. However, here's what I think.
I just love the idea, though, that Colin went from a guy when he first started doing this where people were essentially saying, why is this guy the voice of anything? We don't know this guy. He might not be informed on anything. He's just doing something to bring attention to himself. And now here he is turning that into a full Nike campaign. And again, even if we're not having the conversation the way he intended it to have, there are still people saying, as we are saying, that is the point.
As art, it works because Colin Kaepernick is no longer a human being. He is now merely a symbol. He's not even saying his own words and thoughts anymore. Like, he hasn't for a while. We've just we've taken him and made him whatever we wanted, and now Nike's done so at the middle of a marketing campaign.
Did you know ADT can design and install a smart home just for you? A new smart home at your service, customized for your lifestyle. ADT professionals can even show you how to use your new smart home features. Now, that's what I call warm-up service. It's all controlled from the ADT app or the sound of your voice and backed by 24/7 protection. Visit ADT.com/smart to learn more about how ADT can help keep your home safe and smart.
Don Lebatard.
Bleep yeah! Bleep yeah!
Stugotz.
Bleep no! Bleep no!
This is the Don Lebatard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Izzy Gutierrez is in for Stugotz. We will try to get Stugotz here before the end of the show as he makes a presentation on behalf of our show in New York. He just met Dr. Phil. I'd love to know what that presentation was and how it went. He was complaining the whole time about having to go up there. Izzy's got to go to the bucket of death. Speaking of complaining, we all hate this thing, but it's back for another year because the people demand it. So the Grim Reaper will be here in a moment to have Izzy pick from the bucket of death. But before we do that, let's just update the polls with Guillermo real quick. At Lebatard Show on the Twitter polls. What do you have back there, Guillermo?
When you get anxious or excited about something, do you wave the electricity out of your hands? 62% of the audience said no.
That was you. Yes, you waved your hand. You were very excited about something.
It comes with a face every time.
I was excited about what things cost. We still have 14 to go, Dan, if you want it. All right. I guess we're not going to do that. Which will end first, the Kaepernick conversation or racism? 60% of the audience said Kaepernick conversation.
Closer than I thought.
Are clinically insane people on another spiritual dimension where they might have understanding that the rest of us don't? I don't even understand that question. 68% of the audience said yes.
Exactly.
Wow.
Right. I'm telling
wow.
you.
Izzy is saying that crazy people are more connected to...
They're just in a different place that we can't understand.
That we can't access. That's saying we. I love that you make us sane. I love that. Go ahead, Guillermo.
Are you surprised that there has never been a documented cheetah attack on a human being?
I'm stunned by that.
85% of the audience said yes. Those are the polls.
All right. So the polls are brought to you by...
Discover Card. Discover thinks annual fees are ridiculous. If you do too, find out more at discover.com.
Listen, lacking confidence, Reaper, just come in here and stay in here. Quit leaving the room because you're afraid of cameras. You're fined $2 for talking again in the mask. You're not allowed to break character. That's a $2 fine for the Reaper.
You might hate this, but I'm excited. How many years have you been doing this? Because this is my first time.
Whoa. You can tell it's your first time. You need to put a glove on, friend.
Yes, got to put on a glove. You can't just glove. You can't reach into. All right, so this is what we do. We do it every year. Football teams corresponding to a suicide pool. Basically, this team that he picks will have to win, or if it doesn't win, he has to go to the grid of death with some shame. The glove he's wearing is not practical.
Let's have to scoop it out.
All right, let's see what we can do. He's got. He's reaching in with an incredibly impractical skeleton
I'm not
glove.
Trying to rummage. Okay, I got something.
Oh, it's black.
Oh, there's writing on here.
Oh, it's black.
Oh, no. I have no idea what this says.
All right, let's look. All right, be quiet, Reaper. That's another $2. You're not allowed to speak. Let me see what's on there.
Idea what that is.
All right, there's it's the Lebo helmet. This has been picked about 100 times. My brother knows nothing about sports. We can call him right now, and he will just pick a team, and that team will have to win. Okay, you don't want to put it back.
Right, this is his one and only putback.
That's right, his one and only putback. Stunning that it would start with writing on the helmet that none of us could read.
I think I got something.
All right, and a glove that doesn't work.
Is this the same damn helmet?
No, you can't pick the same helmet. Are you kidding me? That's not even supposed to be back in there. He did just pick the same exact helmet.
Now you're stuck with the Lebo helmet.
No, he's not stuck with the Lebo helmet. I was not supposed to put it back in.
No,
already we've got controversy. Already we've got a mess.
Picking up a backup until we get a ruling.
All right.
Until we get a ruling.
I have made the ruling. He's got to pick another one.
Here's the last one. Oh my God, it's so much worse.
It's the Dolphins.
It's the Dolphins.
It's the worst. It's the Dolphins +1 against the Titans. Congratulations, Izzy.
Thank you. I'm just happy to be part of the game, Dan.
The grid of death is back. Turn that music off.
I was thinking of putting in a new helmet this year. Tell me what you think. It's called Death of Grid. It's just done. And if you draw it, the grid of death is done. That's it. Death of Grid. What do you think of that helmet?
We'll put it on the poll. See if people vote for it. Should there be a Death of Grid helmet that if someone pulls it, the grid ends on the spot?
I already know what's going to happen. Mike will pick it first, and he'll throw it back because he wants this to continue.
Is Stugotz within reach? Can we get a Stugotz update on his presentation and his meeting of Dr. Phil?
I've been texting with them. He's gone ghost. They might be doing their presentation like right now.
Okay. That's too bad.
Perhaps with Dr. Phil.
Dr. Phil, what updates did you guys get? Did you get anything? Did he give you any conversation? How did Stugotz schmarm his way into a picture with Dr. Phil?
Well, he came up to me and he said, "What are you doing?"
Okay, very good. I wasn't looking for an impersonation there. I was just looking for an answer to my question.
I just saw the picture online.
Okay, so you didn't have any answers for me.
He pitched him a show for sure, right? He 100% pitched Dr. Phil some sort of show that he's come up with,
right?
Or a podcast.
Man.
Dr. Phil, you really need to get in the podcast game. I'm telling you, right now you're at the podcast up front. I have an idea for you. Phil and Stu, every week. You come on, podcast.
He's always working a scam, right? And all of those scams involve him, you doing a television show with and for him.
Speaking of shows or pitches, I've got I feel like I'm very happy. I did a good job on this show today. I feel like I picked from the grid of death. I feel like I'm part of the show now. It feels good after 16 or so years of just kind of sitting on the sidelines. And I saw that all these people have sort of gimmicks, right? Greg Cody has this thing. Amin has this thing.